She's f***ing quick! Yeah, it's safe to say that this is going to be a long one. There's quite a few titles that I want to discuss. I literally had to write them down so I can actually keep track as to what I'm on about. But whereas usually I like to discuss what to expect in the near future, since the last message from each video, the content that I've been uploading, yous have really liked, so I do want to address that as well. And before getting into it, I will say that those who have been subscribed for a while will know that every so often I do a best of the best video. So at some point I am going to be wanting to make that, so with any luck, maybe in a week, maybe 2 weeks, hopefully I'll get that made. But before I get into it, on screen now I'll have all the titles that I actually want to discuss. So starting from the beginning, you've got Home Sweet Home. Now if the timing is right with this uploads, the last of Home Sweet Home has been uploaded, so there should be 13 parts in total. And the reason why I want to quickly address this is I do know there's a lot of yous who like to patiently wait for the playthrough to get fully released before you binge watch it, so letting yous know it is out in full now. But of course, what is going to be the next main focus? Now, of course, before we actually talk about the next main focus, this is actually a rant that I really need to have. Because for a while now, in fact, for those who don't know, we had 20 episodes of Soulstorm. And it's safe to say that the title was fairly unpopular, and by episode 20 I had to make a choice. Do I continue making Soulstorm content or do I just abandon it? And since it was unpopular, it didn't seem right to continue uploading that kind of content, but at the same time it didn't feel right to abandon it, because there's no other way to put it. I don't think it's fair abandoning a playthrough even if only a few people are enjoying it. So for the longest time I've had, what was it, I think you had 20 episodes of Soulstorm, then you had Scorn, 5 more episodes of Soulstorm, then Home Sweet Home. So of course we are going to be getting 5 more episodes of Soulstorm. And yes, I do need to have a bit of a rant about this game, because I want you to look at this game in a positive way. As in, there's no point denying it, this game is really pissing me off. This game is really pissing me off. All signs point to just stop making content with it. But the reason why I want you to look at it in a positive way is, if this is how I feel about a certain game, yet I'm choosing to finish it for the few who are enjoying it, and for the few who are patiently waiting for it to come out in full, and for the possibility that someone in the future could subscribe and they might like it, I suppose the silver lining from this is, if ever there's a playthrough that you like, regardless how unpopular it is, I will finish it. And the reason why I keep saying that I want to rant about this game, without spoiling it for the few who are watching it as it gets released, for the few who are patiently waiting for it to come out in full, I recorded episode 31 through to 35 and straight away the game started irritating me. So much so, again, without spoiling it, by episode 35, I think it might have been around about the 12-minute mark, where I basically felt burnt out. And I'm not going to lie to you, even though I've just given that speech how I have full intentions of finishing a playthrough, regardless how I feel, regardless how unpopular it is, I finished recording episode 35, because as you know, I record 5 episodes per recording session. But after recording episode 35, I just didn't want to make any more content with it. I just didn't want to make any more content. But I'm going to level with you, because editing, what was it, episode 26 through to 30, I ended up editing that. The editing felt tedious and I thought, sod it, let's just get the recording out the way, put it to one side until we're done with Home Sweet Home. And it had been sat there for a while, and it got me thinking, do I actually make more content with it? And then I just thought to myself, here's an idea. I'll look up to figure out how close we are to the ends. And then once I've done that, I might even do an additional recording and just having the footage there waiting. And basically, if it was going to be, say, 2 more recording sessions, I might not have the patience for it. But then, here's the thing. I did do a second recording session, so one thing I can tell you is there are going to be 7 more episodes of Soulstorm. But because I promised we'll only revisit 5 at a time, you're only going to be seeing episodes 31 through to 35, and then of course we're going to be having another break. The thing is, typically how I do compilations is the best bits taken from 5 episodes. You know, since I do 5 episodes per recording session, it seems fitting. But if there's only, say, 3 episodes left, then I will have a shorter compilation. But if there's only 2 episodes left, I'll just make a longer compilation with 7 episodes. Which does mean, since I have recorded the last 7 episodes, I know that there is no point releasing a compilation after episode 35. So instead, after episode 35, we'll move on to the next main focus. And then when that title is done, we'll have the last 2 episodes of Soulstorm, followed by the final compilation. There's no other way to put it. This game has taken a horrible turn. We're talking, for those who haven't seen the playthrough and for those who simply aren't interested in the playthrough, I started playing it thinking it would be fun to play, fun to edit, and you would enjoy it, simply because the first game that I played for the channel was the prequel. Now, it is what it is that you weren't enjoying it, that's just how it goes. But it's the fact that on episode 1 through to episode 5, I'm clearly excited to play the game. And I don't know, I think it was as early as episode 6 that I was complaining about the controls. It was that long ago, I can't remember, but the point is, if you do watch the playthrough, you can actually see how my mood changes, and by episode 20 the game pissed me off and I just thought, sod it, I'm done. And then that's when I started to revisit it every couple of weeks or months, whatever. So, where's all signs point to just stop making content with this game, I am choosing to have this game as like a reminder, regardless how I feel about playing the game, regardless how I feel about editing the game, regardless how unpopular it is. If I've started something, I will finish it. So with that being said, moving on to the next game. In fact, before I actually talk about the next game, I do need to address what was discussed in the last message from each of you video. And that was a game that I had planned on getting ready to edit after Home Sweet Home. Now, since it's been a couple of weeks, I might as well tell you what it is, because unfortunately it's going to get delayed even more. And what I'm referring to is the Nun Massacre. The Nun Massacre, for those who don't know, it's a puppet combo game. They know how to make good horrors. And yeah, in the last message from each of you video, I tried to record it, I chickened out, and I had full intentions in between that video and this one to record more, but the fact is I just haven't had the time. So, accepting the fact that that title is going to get delayed, I did say there was another title I had in mind which I could, make and release after Home Sweet Home. And what I'm referring to is Outlast 2. Because saying how it is, for those who haven't seen the Home Sweet Home playthrough, I do mention, I think it's on text on screen or something, I do mention that when I originally wanted to play Home Sweet Home, Outlast was requested. So I played that instead. And of course it's taken until now to have Home Sweet Home on the channel. But the fact is, that game kind of reminds me of Outlast because of what happened back then. It seemed fitting to have Outlast 2 following shortly after. And one thing's for sure is I know a lot of you have been patiently waiting for it, so the fact that you have to wait even longer for the Nun Massacre, it just seems fitting. It just seems fitting to have the next game being something a lot of you have been very, very patiently waiting for. So, you can expect, after 5 more episodes of Soulstorm, there won't be a compilation, saving that until after Outlast. But then, after Outlast, you will be getting the Nun Massacre. So, I don't know when that's going to be, but if I had to guess, Outlast was a 15-part series, so I'd imagine Outlast 2 is going to be around about that. But with that being the main focus discussed and out the way, I want to talk about what is being uploaded in between the main focus. Now, before I get into as to what you can expect, I do want to talk about what has been uploaded, which is Sea of Thieves and Glia 2. So, the fact is, I have not denied that trying to do a recording with my friends is not always possible. It's why with certain titles I will record in advance and have the footage sat there, in some cases several weeks, because what was it? Gang Beasts is a good example. I think it was in the last message from each video I did point out that on the first episode I was waiting for a good few hours, and that wasn't just for a joke, that actually did happen. So if we're able to record some Sea of Thieves, then great. But what it was is that was kind of a test to see what you thought, and basically I'm happy to say that the test worked. You really did like it, so I am wanting more content like that. Now there is going to be more content with friends, whether it's Pange, whether it's Cara. I do want more with it's all three of us, but it's just a case of when we can get it recorded. So regarding Sea of Thieves, it will be a while before we get more of that, but the fact is I've acknowledged you really like it, so I'm going to do what I can to get more content like that. But again, there will be a bit of a waiting period, and the same goes for Glia 2. I'll level with you, the level of attention that it's got is amazing. I'm really glad you're enjoying it, but there's a good reason why you're going to be waiting. I think it's going to work out to be about a month for Glia Part 6 onwards. The fact is, for those who haven't seen it, I did mention on the first episodes, and I did provide a link in the description to the first Glia game. So for those who like Glia 2, because I think if my timing is right, there should be 5 episodes uploaded right now. But for those who are enjoying Glia 2 and they haven't seen the first game, it is on the channel. And sod it, I might as well put the link in the description of this video as well. So I would highly recommend watching that. But the main reason why that is being delayed for about a month is because there are 2 titles that are going to be alternating in between the main focus for the next couple of weeks. And there's no other way to put it. Yous have been waiting a very long time for one, and as for the other, I did promise it. So starters, talking about the one that you've been waiting a long time for. I want to be cryptic here, I want it to be a bit of a surprise, but one thing I can tell you is, since episode 11 of 7 Days to Die, you've had 5 episodes, it's been about a month, and then there's 5 more episodes, and it's been about a month yet again, and of course I'm wanting 5 more. But the way things ended with episode 20, I might as well just tell you, I discussed it with Pange, and this was my idea, because my plan was to, what was it? It was to go round and gather a bunch of supplies from the supply drops. It was then to build what I can to build better armor, and then while well equipped, make my way to a shop and then sell all the stuff that I don't need and then buy a bunch of ammo, acknowledging the fact that I think it's episode 16 we survived because I had the ammo and weapons. But the thing is, if you've seen episodes 17 through to 20, a huge portion of that was just trying to hunt a fucking deer in a fog. And you know, with the game crashing, it's funny the fact that I did mention during that playthrough how I did research, finding out that there was versions of the game that does crash because the fog gets thicker and thicker and thicker. Doing more research, that's why that game was crashing. Turns out that version I was playing was the version I was referring to while playing it. So with having all these issues, I might as well just tell you, the plan was for episode 21, it was to get to the shop, and then when I'm at the shop, sell all the stuff, buy a bunch of ammo, and then, you know, there we go, I've got a bunch of ammo, I can use that and I can defend myself and focus on making the base self-sustaining, you know, making a farm, and then see where it goes from there. But as I discussed before, I did talk to Panj about this. And basically we had an idea to basically just scrap that. We just thought, sod that, just scrap it. Instead do something else. And whereas I'm trying to be cryptic with what I've said so far, user smart, I know that user pretty much worked it out, but I still want to be cryptic. I discussed it with Panj, and basically episode 21, you are going to notice two things. And the best way I can put it is, these two things that are different compared to what I've been uploading with 7 Days to Die. It's completely different to what you're used to, but this is something yous have been asking since maybe episode 8. So of course you got that to look forward to. And I've been talking long enough, but one final game that I want to discuss, and that is Five Nights at Freddy's 4. So for those who haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's 3, or the last message from each of you video, there's no other way to put it. I played the third game after realising it was something stupid like 6 months since playing the second game, and after playing it, I felt something was off. I felt something was off with the third game, and the short version is I just don't like the third game. I've got no motivation to revisit it, but I think I got up to night 6. I got up to night 6 and basically called it quits because I am convinced that I reached that point with luck alone. Now, reflecting back on the last message from each of you video, I did point out that a lot of issues that I was having with that game, a lot of yous did correct me, such as whether or not he's on the camera. I thought he wasn't, yous pointed out he was. So of course, again, I am grateful that yous were able to correct me on that. But because I basically just abandoned that playthrough because I just don't like the game. It's like, what was it? I think it's either the 5th episode or the 6th. Basically, he's on camera and then next thing you know, he's in the room. And I was like, that shouldn't happen. That's a bug. Someone on TikTok did tell me, and I think I did mention this in a previous video, but someone told me that that was actually a hallucination. And as I said during that playthrough, how is it I made it to night 6 and I haven't got a clue how the majority of the mechanics work? That's why I don't like it. That's why I feel like I got there with luck alone. But of course, with abandoning it and with this huge rant about that game aside, I did promise after about a month we would get Five Nights at Freddy's 4. So of course, we've got 5 episodes of Soulstorm. We've got 5 episodes of Glee. So typically we move on to the next 2 games, and as I've mentioned before, you're getting 7 Days to Die, which is going to be different to what you're used to, and of course you are going to be getting Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now I don't want to spoil, like go into too much detail about that, because the fact is I've been chatting for close to 20 minutes. But yeah, as I said, had a lot to discuss with you, several titles, so the best way I can put it is, really it's just Soulstorm. I'm just wanting to get it out the way. Once that's out the way, I'll be a happy man. But, you know, we're talking Home Sweet Home. That's finished. It's you know, it's out in full if you want to give that a go, assuming you haven't seen it. Nun Massacre, unfortunately, is going to get delayed until after Outlast 2. Sea of Thieves, that's going to get delayed because it's a case of when we're able to record more. But I have acknowledged that you do like it, so I'm hopefully going to try and get more like that. Glee 2, like I said, getting 7 Days to Die and Five Nights at Freddy's 4 out the way before we return to Glee 2. But fucking Christ, yeah, with this long rant aside, hopefully this video has been informative because, yeah, I've had to, yeah, I've done enough talking. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you have, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Like and subscribe.